Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for This Week in Google is provided by Cachefly. Cachefly.com. This is TWiG, This Week in Google, episode 75 for Christmas week 2010, our best of. This Week in Google is brought to you by Ford and voice-activated sync, featuring true hands-free calling, turn-by-turn directions, 911 assist, and more. Available exclusively on Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury vehicles. And by MailRoute. Businesses of every size use MailRoute. One user or 50,000 users, it doesn't matter. MailRoute will protect you from spam and viruses, simplify your life, and make your email usable again. For 10% off for the life of your account, visit mailroute.info. Happy holidays and welcome to our best of This Week in Google. I'm Leo Laporte, and we thought for the holidays we'd take a little time off, give the TWiG crew a break for a week, and put together some of the best moments from 2010, and that's what you're about to see. Actually, as we went through it, we realized that TWiG is much less about Google and much more about Chipotle, Glee, just kind of silly things. No, there's a little Google in here too. So Gina Trapani, Jeff Jarvis, and I, and many of our wonderful guest hosts, you're going to see some of the best moments in just a little bit. Thank you for joining us all year long. Thanks to our sponsors for supporting us. And here's a cup of Michigan cheer to next year. I know I'm going to hear from all my friends at the Ohio State University and everywhere else, Clemson. I'm sorry, I apologize. It was the biggest mug I had. All right, let's get on with it. The best of TWiG.
RMAA 801C. Singing in the Rain umbrella mashup. Nice. Full version, scot-free.
Good girl gone bad. Take 3.
This is Gwyneth Paltrow. Was she a singer in an earlier life?
Apparently.
A lot of auto-tune.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy to do that live, huh?
Eileen, who is the TMZ of TWiT, tells me that Gwyneth's new movie is a country movie in which she sings the title song. She's a singer. Ever since, what's his name? Joaquin Phoenix played Johnny Cash. They all want to do it now.
Let's dance, Gina.
I didn't do maneuver dance anymore in here.
I'm so glad I'm recording this.
Pick up in the year-end roundup.
This is best of material.
Amazing that anyone ever married me.
Yeah, my name is Lisa.
Oh, I've got something for you. All right, enough of that. So the guy who does these mashups is a big fan and has offered to send you, Gina, a disc of mashups. I think it's the holiday Glee. There's a Christmas Glee in process, and he's going to send you an advanced copy.
What?
Yes.
Seriously?
Yes.
You're kidding.
Yes.
Wait, like the guy who does the Glee mashups?
Yeah.
Is
Scott
a fan
Free.
of TWiG?
Huge fan. He's watching right now. So
Hey!
Oh my God.
yeah. And he's a longtime DJ music guy. That's why I have this. He sends me stuff all the time, and he said, "Do you mind that I send you stuff?" I said, "No, but I delete it because I don't want to get in trouble."
Right.
Because I don't. Well, it's not that I want. I mean, I wasn't going to distribute it. Let's put it that way. I guess I could put it on my Tumblr.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
oh
he's going to
God.
send you, and he said, "Can I send you the holiday gifts?" I said, "The holiday music." I said, "I know who you could send it to."
Oh, yeah.
There's a Baby It's Cold duet between Kurt and Blaine in the Christmas episode. I heard on YouTube. I'm very
You've
excited.
heard that, huh?
Oh, love Glee. So exciting. I'm so happy.
This is for you, Gina.
I really can't
But
stay.
baby, it's cold outside.
I've got to go
But
away.
baby, it's cold outside.
She really is a Glee.
Has
Been
been
hoping
Kind of more than I even really
very nice.
imagined.
your hands, they're just like
My mother will start to worry.
beautiful.
Love this song.
My father will be pacing the
Listen
floor.
to the fireplace.
So really, I'd better
Beautiful,
scurry.
please don't
But
hurry.
maybe just half a drink
Put
more.
some records on while I
The
pour.
neighbors might think.
Baby, it's bad out there.
It's two
Say
boys.
what's in
No
this
On TV.
dream?
That's what's awesome about Glee.
I wish
That's what's
you
awesome about Glee. I almost feel like the whole point of Glee had this agenda. It's like, okay,
It's the
You don't want
gayest
gay
show on
marriage?
TV. It's not just about the show
okay,
tunes.
yeah.
You got a problem with that?
You don't want to get married? We can solve that. It's something called television. And the power of TV is unbelievable. To just completely, yeah, it's amazing. And the music's good. I don't care. I'll watch anything where they burst into song. I told you that last week. I don't care. Plots aren't that great, but I don't care.
It's cold
They burst into song.
The answer is
But
no.
baby, it's cold outside.
They need to dance.
Welcome
How
as
lucky that you
You better do TWiG on Broadway.
That would be funny, wouldn't it?
We have to do TWiG the musical. We gotta do it.
So Scott says they do not get permission ahead of time for anything.
What?
For anything. He says they just go, whatever. When they sue us, we'll pay them. Or when they come and, when they write us a letter, we'll take care of it. So he
We'll
said,
make fun of them and turn them into Scrooges for even going that to ruin Glee.
nobody's going to screw with Glee.
No.
So he says, the mashups, nothing. We just go ahead and do whatever we want.
That Singing in the Rain umbrella mashup, though, was truly.
That's pretty good. I
epic. It
have
was
not
epic.
seen it yet. It's on my DVR.
And they made you wait the entire episode for it. Like it was just a big wait for it, and then it was so great that last.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stop. I am a big leak. Very excited. Very excited. Who's the mashup person's name?
Scott, I guess I could say his name. Scott Free.
Scott.
And he wants to send you the holiday CD,
I'm
which
so
includes that.
excited.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm just gonna sit here and squee the entire episode.
It's a Glee squee.
That was an earnest squeal.
It's so cute. So cute.
I'm either squealing or I have tears in my eyes watching Glee. I really get into it.
You really do. But it sounds to me what the Google Verizon Pact did is say, yeah, there'll be net neutrality for everybody except wireless carriers. And wireless carriers like Verizon and AT&T, who recently weighed in with, yeah, we agree. Wireless carriers should be allowed to do basically anything they want, including tier, differentiate services, charge more for some, less for others, essentially completely abrogate any idea of net neutrality, and build, in effect, what some critics have called a dual internet, a public internet, and then a private telecom-based network for value-added services.
Just the fact that we're using the term public internet makes me want to kind of stab myself in the eye.
Yeah.
Because
really
that
does.
implies that there's another internet, which is exactly what Jeff wrote about, right? Internet and
There's a
internet.
couple of internets, right? I mean, it's that, yes, you have this old dog internet showing you cat videos on YouTube, but you're not in your house right now? Oh, that's not the internet. I said in my post, that's the schminternet, as in internet schminternet, right? And it's a news service. It's a an education service that didn't exist before. Oh, sorry, sir, that's the schminternet. And on the schminternet, we'll take you through all of our new fees and restrictions and regulations. Please hold.
Well, let me be the devil's advocate here. And there's some precedent for stuff like this in the early days of cable, for instance, cable internet. The FCC gave cable companies a lot of concessions. For instance, the power of monopoly, saying in order to justify the cost of building this out, we believe the internet's important. We're going to give you some concessions here. Isn't that what's going on? That because of it's clear that anybody who's using an iPhone understands that when it comes to wireless internet, it's a different beast. And so doesn't it make sense that there be some concessions?
No, Leo. I mean,
No.
one thing, it's not the government doing that now.
Okay.
Sorry, Stacey, go ahead.
Go ahead, Stacey, and then we'll go to Jeff.
No, I was just going to say, so the wireless stuff, I will 100% agree that you cannot have the same exact network management practices
It's
for
clear.
wireless.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not enough bandwidth.
They're not going to work.
Yeah.
But the way that they've phrased this, instead of fighting for as much as one could hope for in terms of getting some kind of reasonable network management and coming up with some ways to define that for wireless that may be different from wired, Google and Verizon have hijacked the whole process, taken it outside of the realm of the FCC.
Yes.
And what's likely is Congress is going to listen to this and say, oh, yeah. And the FCC is already in a position right now where Congress is looking askance at it and saying, whoa, there, you don't want to regulate the internet.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I think that's exactly right, Stacey. I think that the problem here is that this was not the FCC or the government giving concessions. This was the companies asking for their own concessions and saying this is their ideal. And, you have Google, which only a year ago was pushing for the white spaces around broadcast to be freed from regulations so that they could become, quote, Wi-Fi on steroids, in their words, and could provide competition to the wireless providers. And, the whole idea of mobile and wireless becomes an oxymoron. It becomes ridiculous. It becomes meaningless. So I walk with my iPad, which I don't have, but let's imagine I did. I walk with my iPad from my home when it's on Wi-Fi. I walk outside, it goes to cellular. Oh, sorry, you've just gone to the schminternet. Now you can't get this and this and this. Now you have to pay for this and this and that. And if that wireless, so-called, that mobile, so-called, came from some new provider like white spaces, new technologies, well, where does that go? The internet is the internet is the internet, damn it. And if we end up with multiple internets, that sucks. What Stacey's really quite right about is the problem is these guys, and I still don't understand why Google did this. I do not get why Google did this.
It feels like capitulation.
It really does. And the problem is that these guys negotiated the future of the internet without the owners of the internet sitting there. And the owners of the internet are us, damn it. And we've got to yell and scream and have a fit because the internet is not Google's. It's not Verizon's. It's not the FCC's. It's ours. And I hate to plug this old post that nobody cares about, but this is why I wrote this Bill of Rights in cyberspace.
Love this
Because
post.
if we, the people, don't stand up on principle and say, butt out, ass wipes, get out of here. This is not yours. This is ours. Yeah, we pay you for the broadcast, but what we want is more competition, more choices, more openness, more development, more people on the internet. And if we start doing this, it's going to clamp down on this, and it's going to clamp down on our economy as well. Sorry, end of spiel.
Axel Librius in our chat room quotes a past Google statement that says, there's no network problem allegedly solved by prioritization that cannot also be solved by additional bandwidth. Google in the past has said, just throw more bandwidth at it. Now, I guess that you still haven't answered my devil's advocate question, which is, because of the bandwidth constrained nature of wireless telecommunications, is it not unreasonable to say it should be treated differently than land?
Leo, by that logic, then shouldn't fiber to the house be treated differently from copper?
Because it's more capable. All right, go ahead, Stacy.
Well, I was going to say carriers can treat it differently in a way that's perhaps competitive. So things like congestion pricing, and I know people hate people hate tiered pricing.
Right.
I'm against it as a principle, but if you're worried about congestion on your network, don't limit people to, 5 gigabits or gigabytes per month.
Just charge them more.
Or charge them more for it. Charge them more during times when you're experiencing peak usage. Recognize the fact and tell consumers about the fact that if for some instance, like a hurricane hits, their YouTube streams are going to be, deprioritized below voice calls. That makes sense.
That's interesting. I had never heard that before, Stacey. Is that a solution that people have been proposing?
That's what Eric Schmidt will talk about that. When he was at the thing in Tahoe last week, he talked about figuring out how to prioritize traffic, and he made it sound like what Verizon and they were agreeing to was something like that. And the carriers will also say that. That's kind of their friendly face of this. But there's no rules in place for that, and it's hard to write those rules into legislation without them being kind of subverted later on. And that's why this is such a contentious issue. I don't know if you guys want nuance or not, but that's...
We do want nuance. We're absolutely... That's kind of what the show is about.
We feed on nuance. Nuance is our middle name.
And I think that's, to me, what you're going to see is a very, and we already have seen, is very black and white. I'm against it, or I don't know anybody who's in favor of what Google and Verizon have done, but presumably somebody is, AT&T anyway. But I think there is more than just the yes or no to it. There is that's what I'm trying to get at. It seems like there's some rationalization for giving at least temporarily, and maybe that's the mistake here, that this doesn't sound like a temporary measure, but temporarily giving wireless companies a little pass. No?
I think there's a place for doing real case-by-case adjudication. That's probably the wrong word, at the FCC for net neutrality kind of rules.
Right.
The problem is right now the FCC doesn't actually, it's unclear if they have the authority to actually enforce any of that, which is what this whole process is designed to do. So implementing some kind of network neutrality in talking about reasonable network management on wireless networks, by saying that, you at least get something down. And then when cases come up, the FCC actually has the ability to go in, say, hey, carrier, don't do this. Right now, that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Well, Stacey, isn't that part of that is that the FCC, of course, as of right now, does not have authority over this?
Well, there's some question about it after the Comcast reversal.
Right.
Although I've had a number of offline conversations with people who say, well, you can't interpret the Comcast reversal too broadly. The court didn't say the FCC doesn't have the right to do it. They just said it wasn't doing it correctly in this case. So it's very unclear. It's very unclear what the FCC's mandate is. And of course,
what the FCC is trying. Do you want to know?
Yes, I would love to know. Well, what does the FCC think of this? I guess they'd be another group that's against this because it's undermining their authority.
So my sources at the FCC they're staying silent on it. They don't want to comment basically on this because it's something that they feel like talking about it condones this as a legitimate solution.
They don't want to legitimize it at all.
But there is a clear power vacuum. There's a clear lack of leadership from the FCC right now because of the whole reclassification debate, which is what you're talking about after Comcast, where they're trying to figure that out. And net neutrality is actually tied to that because if they don't have the authority to legislate or regulate broadband, they can't implement net neutrality. So they're really closely tied. And the FCC is trying to work this from all angles, and I personally think it's failing miserably. And that gave Verizon and Google the ability to step up and propose this and get so much traction. I mean,
Google says that this is really they're proposing a blueprint for legislation. It sure would be nice if Julius Genachowski or somebody you know somebody at the FCC, Gina. You were talking about if somebody stood up and said, "Hey, wait a minute, this isn't what."
There was a comment. There was an official comment by Michael J. Copps. He said, "Some will claim this announcement moves the discussion forward. That's one of its many problems. It's time to move a decision forward, a decision to reassert FCC authority over broadband telecommunications to guarantee an open internet now and forever."
Yes.
And this is my favorite part. And to put the interests of consumers in front of the interests of giant corporations.
Yes.
That was the most heartening response I could have possibly. I mean, that was like
just one of five commissioners.
Yeah.
He's just one of five commissioners, and so Copps is coming out strongly. So you at least now see some discussion, some fighting. I just put on the friend feed. Susan Crawford, the brilliant Susan Crawford, wrote a post this morning, basically telling the FCC to grow a pair.
Yeah.
And I think that's the point. I think Stacey, you're right. There's a vacuum. I think, Gina, you're absolutely right that what Copps says is what they should all be doing. But the problem is he's basically protesting against the FCC from inside the FCC.
Well, there's a long history of that, by the way, of division among FCC commissioners. That's not at all unusual. I'd like to know where Genachowski stands on this because, I mean, he's the one who needs to take a leadership role here. And he's been very outspoken for internet neutrality. I think he had a lot to do with the broadband plan that the FCC put forward.
Leo, he did have, when the New York Times had that story on Monday saying that they had reached a deal and presented it somewhat differently than this, Genachowski did say that basically he was pissed about this and that there would be no more meetings under their aegis.
That's right. They did call off that the conferences. That's right. Stacey, go ahead. You were going to say something.
Well, those conferences weren't going anywhere, and so Genachowski called those off because they weren't making progress. So once this whole thing became public, he knew he was going to fail. You might as well just fail without being castigated for having all these secret meetings, which is what was happening.
So instead, we've got this backroom deal between two major corporations with what we thought were different interests, but apparently are maybe not so different.
Well, it's not really a deal. I mean, it's not policy, right? I mean, Verizon and Google don't create policy.
It's proposed policy.
So it's a proposal. It's a proposal. And also, let me just say, the wireless thing broke my heart, but the rest of the document is great. Like I'm with them the whole way.
The new services part, Gina?
No,
the wireless part.
Okay, what is the new services part? Let's hear that story. Jeff, what is the new services part?
Maybe Stacey's probably a better position to say it, but it's another carve-out.
Stacey?
Yeah, there are three problems. One, it emasculates the FCC. Actually, one would be wireless, but we've talked about that.
Right.
And then there's a carve-out for managed services. They don't call it that. They call it, additional network services. And that's things like Uverse or Fios TV or anything that the carrier, and the FCC has been all the way back in October and September was worried about this because it's a way to say, in the worst case scenario, this may not happen. I may be crazy, but to say we're going to develop our broadband infrastructure and we're going to allocate X amount of it to our advanced network services, which cost extra, which, you may have to pay as a consumer. And if you want to get on it as a service, like a web service, maybe you have to pay. Maybe you don't. We're not sure. And then what happens is you've got this, public ghetto.
Yeah, but what's wrong with that? If Verizon has a VCast service that lets you watch broadcast television, what's wrong with them saying
that's fine?
This is a private service.
But here's the problem.
Okay.
It's a big open door. It's a hangar door sized exception because it says, in fact, the example they give is that if an opera wanted to broadcast in 3D and it used a lot of bandwidth, that's new, and then that's outside of net neutrality. Well, so anything new is the Schminternet.
Right.
And that's definitely a problem. So the EFF makes a really good point.
Go ahead, Gina.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut off Stacey. I was going to say, the additional online services is very vaguely defined, right? We don't really know what that is. I mean, they're trying to future-proof. They're trying to say, new things are going to come out. We don't want to squash innovation. We want those new things to happen. We don't know what they're going to be, but we're just going to call them additional online services. That's troubling. Also, the definition of reasonable network management, you guys all seem to agree, like, mobile networks are different. I mean, yes, they're technically different, but are they really different? Like, what is reasonable network management? What does that mean exactly? Like, I felt like the
It could be as
vagueness
much
around
as
that
blocking YouTube over wireless.
Right.
And
So like wireless networks, like the constraints that they are under, I mean, you've got a certain amount of spectrum, right? And you have a certain amount of bandwidth that fits into each, like, megahertz of spectrum. And the issue is if you send that to towers and people are moving in and out, and it's actually really complicated to keep track of. And so there's the limited amount of spectrum, right, which kind of limits the capacity at any one place and point in time. And then there's also the issue of tracking these users as they're trying to, like, stream, which is really hard and, like, intensive over the wireless network, while other people are trying to do, like, voice calls. And, you know, maybe we shouldn't be prioritizing voice calls. And in like a 4G network, we won't have to because they're all IP.
right.
See, we talk about serious stuff. Net neutrality, actually, a big topic of conversation all year long, and I'm sure going into 2011 as well. We get even more serious in just a moment with our conversation about man boobs. But before you think I'm joking? I'm not. I wish I were. Joel Johnson from Gizmodo will join us in just a little bit. But first, this is our holiday episode, in case you didn't notice. But first, I want to talk a little bit about my friends at Ford and the great Ford Sync. That was the best thing Santa brought me last year. It was right around this time last year that I got my 2010 Mustang and discovered the wonders of Ford Sync. The whole idea of Sync is that when you get in the car, you shouldn't be disconnected from the world, but you should still be safe. With Sync, you keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road, and yet your car is connected. You know, one of the things Ford very intelligently realized is that these smartphones we bring into our cars these days are improving at a much faster rate than any automobile can. So by connecting to your smartphone, you get the features of the smartphone added to the car. That was one of the brilliant insights behind Ford Sync. Let me explain how it works. You have a button on the wheel. You press the button. The lady says, you know, what do you want? And you tell her. And it could be everything from setting the cabin temperature to playing a song, playing an artist, even playing more like that particular song that you're listening to right now. Play next, play previous, pause. You get complete control of your music. But you also can get turn-by-turn directions, really good ones. They'll reroute around traffic problems because it's always watching what's going on. You also get 911 assist, which I think is really, really important. It deploys. If the airbags are deployed, it calls 911, sends them GPS coordinates, plays a message, then gives you a chance to speak. It has, let's see, direction. Oh, things you wouldn't even expect, like sports scores. You can find out how your favorite team is doing, up-to-date live sports scores, movie times, gas prices. It's a complete informational array, weather forecasts, all available just by voice. It really understands your voice very well. It's very effective. I've never used anything better, and I've tried them all. This is what you want. In fact, I know a lot of people now that get emails all the time, people who said, you know, I actually bought a Ford because of Ford Sync. It's in Ford, available in some Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury vehicles, standard in others. Best thing to do, go to your Ford dealer and give it a try. Have them demonstrate it. Every dealer has a Sync specialist who can show you what's going on. And you can also go to the website, syncmyridepodcast.com, and they've got lots of videos there so you can kind of see. But really the best thing to do is to test drive the car. Now, before we get back to This Week in Google, I do want to mention a contest that's about to run out. There's only a few days left. December 31st, 2010 is the deadline. If you go to twitfordfocus.com, you can enter. What they're asking is a 2-minute video. The winner will get a trip to Madrid with a friend to test drive the all-new 2012 Ford Focus. What a car this is. And Madrid, I mean, how nice is that? This contest is available globally, by the way, to all our listeners anywhere in the world. You'll also get $10,000 US to donate to the charity of your choice, which is pretty special as well. So if you want to enter this, go to twitfordfocus.com. It's a Facebook page. All the details are there. You'll be making a 2-minute video saying why you should go to Madrid, which charity you support. Ford's going to donate a total of $500,000 in all. This is a really, really great deal. TWiTForwardFocus.com. I want to make sure you knew about that, and make sure you do it before the end of the year. Available worldwide. Now, let's get back to the important matter at hand. Joel Johnson of Gizmodo and man boobs.
That's always what it looked like. The iPad looked like its success was that it filled a lot of niches. And,
yeah, it's not good at anything.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure I'd say that. I mean, it's good. It's great. It's great for watching movies. It's great for. It's actually pretty good for reading. You're right. It's not as good as the Kindle.
It's not, it's better to watch on a TV than an iPad. And I love the iPad. I think it's a great platform. But that's
if you were going to buy, Joel, if you were going to buy a device other than a phone, well, that's even the wrong way to say it. If you were going to buy an iPad, given the current choices, do you think you'd go for the 7-inch Android or Dell's 5-inch Android?
Oh, gosh. Well,
Dell's is a joke. Wait, look at that ad. Have you seen the Dell Streak ad? It looks like they're holding something that's swole up. It's just wrong. It's like a big candy bar, like they're holding a Hershey bar. It's just terrible.
But it's funny that you say that because it's still smaller than, in some dimensions.
But it's smaller than the iPad, too. So but what I'm saying is that it's almost like Uncanny Valley. There's an area between two decent areas, which is a phone. The 4.3 is as big as you can get, right? The Droid X or the Evo.
Right.
Yeah.
And the iPad, which is the right size for the iPad. And there's those two work.
Well, the thing to me, and this is, tenuously about Google, but I do think when I hold an iPad and I use it, I feel like it's right on the edge of being too small. Like there's times where I'm like, oh, I wish this was just a little bit bigger.
Really?
But I also don't want it to be bigger because I want it to be portable and to carry it around and all of that stuff. So I think a lot of the magic in any device screen size is finding where that point of tension is, where it's like, okay, I wish it was a little bit bigger, but I'm glad it's no bigger. And the iPhone does that very well, and the iPad does that very well. And all of these other explorations of screen sizes, I don't think there's a magic number, but I think there's probably a magic zone that Apple's probably somewhere within, and there's not a lot of room to play there.
Yeah, so Steve was right. Steve was right.
Gina, are you tempted by any of these tablets yet?
No, not yet. It's gonna be a while. They got to work it out. I'm not gonna be tempted until Google says this is the right version of Android to run on a tablet.
Well, you know what they're saying now, and 3.0 is imminent, right? For Gingerbread.
Yeah. Apparently.
Although somebody said 2.3 is coming out soon too. I'm very confused. So there's 2.3, maybe an interim thing, then Gingerbread, because they already got the Gingerbread Man, and but it turns out that it's honeycomb. Really, is what you want. I'm very confused. Google's message is not clear.
It isn't, and this is an Android problem.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think it's hurting them though.
Well, they're selling a lot of phones. God knows.
At some point it becomes a generic device. I think is that yes, there's the magic to the iPhone, fine, and the iPad, but then beyond that, I went to the Quadrangle Foursquare
wait a minute,
conference.
just real quickly.
Yeah.
Look at the phone in her hand. They need to hire. This is the Dell Streak ad. They need to hire models with bigger hands. Yeah, they got to do it. We talked about this on
basketball players.
Yeah, because look at that. It looks. There's something just not right about it. It's like, look how big that is. I don't know.
She carries it well, though.
She carries it well. And then he's got one, and look, they both have weird chocolate bars in their hands. It's just,
You're meant for each other.
Yeah. Oh, you're one of the 3 other people who have this phone. We must be true love. So that's the Dell Streak. That's a 5-incher. 7-inch is not quite right. Part of this also is really the operating system and apps have to. This is what Steve actually said in that earnings call. He said, it's a developer issue. They're not thinking like developers. They're thinking like hardware manufacturers. We can make it. He says, but we're software guys. We think, yeah, but how's it going to look? And can you make software that fits on a 3.5, 4, 5, 7, and up screen that works on all of them?
It's also, though, pocket size, right? I think that the Streak is the largest possible thing that will fit in at least a man's pocket.
Will it fit in your pocket?
It'll fit in my jacket pocket.
Your coat pocket. But you know what?
Yeah.
Jeff, you're the last man who still wears a jacket. If it doesn't fit...
It's in my ironic overalls front pocket. So.
Oshkosh bagosh. There you go. But no, I think it has to fit in the breast pocket of your shirt, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's
That's-
uncomfortable.
Who even puts a phone in the breast pocket of their, like, phones are for pockets at best, and maybe belt clips if you must.
Well, he got rid of his pocket protector, so just don't make fun of him.
Wait, you're telling me that you think it's superior to have a belt carrier than have it in your front pocket?
Hip
No.
pocket, like thigh pocket.
Hip pocket, no, because, well, I have keys in one and wallet in the other, and I don't want to sit on it, so I can't put it in my butt pocket. So it's got to go in the front. And really, am I nerdy for putting my phone there?
I don't think you're supposed to put anything in your front pockets. I think except for handkerchiefs is like the only thing that is possibly supposed to go in there.
You want to know the real truth? Half the time I got 2 phones in my front pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're all outliers, you know. Like,
know.
if you've ever looked at a Scott E vest and been like, well, maybe, then you're like really fashion
Joel,
is kind of.
Joel, that's all I own. This is a Scott E vest shirt.
I like Scott E vest stuff, but I'm just saying, if you're at that point where you're looking for cable runs in your shirt, like, you can kind of work within.
So that's why I keep it in my front pocket, because I have a hole there that can go right up through here to the headphones that go around my back, and it's never mind.
All I'm saying is you're part of the problem.
I just feel that it camouflages my man boobs.
And not accentuate.
You take on geek boobs.
Oh, it might accentuate them. I never thought of that, Gina.
Well, this is the thing. It accentuates just ones. You're like, you know, you've got the like uni boob.
Something really wrong with me.
This really has changed my entire perspective on it. So I'd like to rescind everything I said before.
No, you were right. They're agreeing with you. Don't put it in your breast pocket.
Well, and I think to get back to the size of things, like it's you're never going to put an iPad in your pocket, which means it might be the right size, you know. And all these other tablets, anytime they show, this is so typical. I mean, I've seen it hundreds of times over the years as a gadget blogger. Is like they'll show you these model pictures of people using it, and it has absolutely no relevance to the real world. So you have to actually look out in the real world and see what people would do with it. Or what I often do is take stuff and show my friends, like at a bar or something, and say, like, what would you do with this? And if they wouldn't put it in their pocket, then, you know, it's not, nobody else is going.
We're talking about Android, some Android sales numbers out. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Gina's got but you haven't set it up yet, the Google TV.
Not yet. I haven't received it yet.
I have mine. I've talked about it already a little bit.
Yeah.
Unhook it, Leo.
You kind of ruined me.
You know, I'm really tempted to unhook it, but well, I'm going to wait until Gina. You know, we'll talk about it in a second. There is a deal. Have you seen this? This is the new Windows mobile phone.
I saw you showing it off.
I was watching your demo a little bit before
Windows,
the show.
It's mobile. You know, it's sad
It's
because
slidey.
it's actually very snappy. Had this come out before the iPhone and the Android phone, you'd be going, this is amazing.
Would that have come out before Android and iPhone?
Oh, well, I guess not.
Not in that way.
I guess not.
But you like it.
Well, it's fine, but we already have Android and iPhone and BlackBerry, if you want to be really generous. And
is there any logic to it? How's the UI?
It's fine. I love it. You know, it's a nice UI. It's very usable. I'll tell you what. There's a lesson for Google in a couple of areas. First of all, because Microsoft said this is the hardware spec and you must adhere to the hardware spec, all of them have the same 5-megapixel camera, the same gigahertz processor. There is a varied amount of RAM and storage, but essentially you're getting an 800 by 480 screen. There's a certain consistency across the hardware that is a good thing, and that's one of the problems Android has. But of course, Android's open. I was thinking about this morning. Google, of course, knew that would be an issue, but they chose, from a philosophical point of view, we prefer to open source it, to keep the Open Handset Alliance, to let the manufacturers do what they want with it, and it's worked for them. We're going to talk about those numbers in a bit. But on the other hand, I think Microsoft can quite reasonably say, yes, but look, this is a very consistent experience across the board. This is the Samsung Focus, which is very much like the Captivate, the Galaxy S that Samsung has Android on. So just think of it kind of as a Galaxy S.
Are you taking Pilates?
Yeah, every 3 times a week. You should see my core. I'm working on my, it's all about the man boobs. So so these are the tiles. You see, and you can have your friends in you can have these, everybody has a tile. It's very people-focused and socially focused. So you see how quickly that works, though? So you can see, I mean, there's just these are recent calls.
Gina, I don't see us there. We don't have tiles.
Well, you don't. You would have a tile if you would tweet or Facebook more often.
Every company learns this. At the beginning of AOL, very back in the early days, they made breast a bad word, and the breast cancer community was, of course, properly up in arms.
Not to mention Foster Farms.
Yes.
How are you going to search for chicken?
But you can't search for Jeff's penis posts either.
I can't. Really? Huh.
Now that's a disservice.
Well, that's bad. Wait a minute. Let me just search for JEFF apostrophe S PENI. Well, I got small penis jokes ignite airport meltdown.
Okay,
and it goes blank.
There you go.
Well, I'm so sorry, Jeff.
We're gonna have parents kind of looking over the shoulder of kids from across the room, going, "I see that screen is white.
That screen's
what
blank.
are you searching for, kids?"
What were you thinking?
So if I search for BOOB, oh, there it goes.
Oh.
Huh. That's got to be a new game.
Yeah, now we got to do the new dictionary of no words, white words, we'll call them.
White words.
White words. All right. Well, I mean, we took 10 minutes and we've discussed the whole thing. Is there anything more to say?
Well, I think there's some subtleties to this. The thing is that Google has said in the past that 20% of queries at any given time are unique they've never seen before.
What?
So yeah.
Wow.
That's a stat that they published several times, and I can find science for it.
1 in 5. Wow.
Because there's a diverse number of things that people type into it, and which makes some sense. You know, that this was always their point about serving the long tail, and not just doing the top few queries, and that was, you know, a Google in-depth thing that helped them compete with others. But this is going to change that, because you're going to get a lot closer to other people's queries all the time. There's a subtle effect from that, which is that you're gradually being pushed into the things that other people have searched for before. And we've had a bit of that with the autocomplete already, but this is going to make that much stronger.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? That sounds like a bad thing.
It sounds like,
I think it's a bad thing.
I think it's a bad thing. It's suddenly Google is very normative. I read a long post about this last night when I was playing with the Google Scribe thing, which we can maybe talk about in a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that was like... Leo,
I'm trying to come up with a search that nobody's ever typed before. Baboon frenzy inside my pants.
Oh, God.
Nope. See, there's a search. So
Put that in quotes. Put that in quotes.
Oh. All right. Let's see. I have to pluralize.
Remember when we used to play the game Google Wax?
Leo, add Pia Zadora to it. You'll be fine.
Pia Zadora. No results found for baboon frenzy inside my pants. I have found the end of the internet.
Pia Zadora, baboon frenzy. It's got to be the first time.
So, but it stuns me. I'm sorry, it does not sound credible that 1 in 5 searches are something Google's never seen before.
That's one of the stats that stuck with me because it is so striking. Yeah.
I mean, what are people searching for that's so bizarre and weird?
Well, it's just that you know, language is generative, and you can stick words together to make a phrase that no one's ever said before.
Well, you can, but it's usually nonsense.
Well, no, you know, that's you know, the way that language is structured. It isn't. You know, you have clusters of ideas. And the one interesting thing they said in response to that was that when they watched people using it, and we were talking about, well, this is going to mean that you don't have to just get on the first page. You have to get on the first 3 results for the first 2 letters. Yeah. But they said people will keep typing stuff and adding words to try and bring the one they want up to the top, even if it's like 4 down. They go, oh, I want that further up.
I want
that. Keep typing and move it up the screen.
I think you raise a really important point on the industry here, is that for various reasons we see the defrocking of the SEO wizards. Number one, because we see how much more personalized search is, and so it's hard to say, well, I rose you up 10 stops.
Right.
Well, for Gina you did, but for Kevin you didn't. And also, I think you're right. What you just said is that the first page isn't even the issue. The first 3 listings are the issue.
Right.
And back to your other point, Leo, about the going to all the same. It's not just that you go to the same that everyone else goes to, because it's personalized. It's going to go to what I've gone to all the time before. And someone on Twitter said to me, "Well, I don't want to go to what I've gone to before. I want to be surprised. I want to go to a new thing."
By the way, the chat room is explaining to me why 1 in 5 has never before been seen in Google. Of course, I should have known this. Misspellings.
Yeah.
People,
And languages.
people are
No,
surprised.
it's mostly generative language.
Oh no, I think people are idiots. That's really the reason. But now Google does, of course, the spelling corrections, and these work as well in this instant search. So if I start typing CALA, calendar, properly spelled, is the first item on there. So the spelling suggestions get now kind of incorporated into the search results. It doesn't even say, "Did you mean calendar?" So this is I think this is helpful. I'll be very curious. Somebody asked Marissa, well, how many people in your testing said they didn't want it? And she said some did, but you could turn it off. Be curious to see what the results are in that regard, if a lot of people turn it off or not. What else?
You know what's amazing? Justin Bieber has JU. Not only does the guy have his own racks at Twitter, or own server
Yeah,
racks.
did you see that? He's got like 3 or 4 servers.
That's apparently a myth.
Oh.
He's got JU. Does he have JU for you, Leo?
Nope. This is just
he's number 2.
Somebody's been searching a little too much for Justin Bieber. I don't want to.
Just Justin TV, I get.
Yeah, I get Justin TV, but
Yeah, Justin
JUS gives me Justin Bieber.
Interesting. I really don't search for Justin Bieber very much.
Justin Bieber tattoo. Now that's what I want to see.
Back in the early days,
Yeah.
I
No,
think
you don't.
I was one of the Jeffs on the first page, but I can't even find myself now.
But you make a good point, because I was typing in Leo, and it shows up. I show up very well if I'm logged in, but as soon as I log out, it's that stupid Deutsch English dictionary, leodict.leo.org, that beats me every time.
You win Leo space.
I'm Leo in my own Leo space.
Life of Leo is top result for Leo.
Oh,
for
good.
me.
For you? Oh, thank
Yep,
God.
and Leonardo da Vinci. It's pretty good company.
Yeah.
Not Leonardo DiCaprio.
It's all
Yeah, he's
horoscope
there
for me,
too.
Leo.
He's pretty good company
the
too.
TMZ searches are coming through, aren't they?
All right, I'm just gonna shut up. I'm gonna stop revealing my.
It's revealing, isn't it? That's very interesting. It's very
reading
revealing.
my mind, and I'm reading it to you. So I'm gonna shut up now.
I get Leo gets me first, then Leonardo DiCaprio, Leonard Cohen, Leona Lewis, and Leo Laporte. But that's pretty good. And
Leo, I get you number 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the
That's
I get
the
you
normal
number 5
search.
on the topics, right?
if I log out, I will get, and I type Leo, I will be 6th down on the list if I log out. So it really is paying quite a bit of attention to your search history, obviously, which it should. I wonder, now, where does that happen? Does Google, is that happening in the server side or client side? Is Google sending to the browser my search history? I guess it knows. No one knows it because it's in the server.
Yeah, they have it on the server side. That's one of the settings on.
Of course, it's in the dash. Yeah.
This is, I mean, this
you're
is
doing it
just a
everywhere.
feat
Right.
of engineering right here. I mean, not to be a total Google fangirl. I mean, I am already. Sometimes I feel bad about being so far up one company's butt, but you know, this is a pretty good butt to be up because this is really amazing. I mean, this is like a
show title.
feat of engineering. What's going on here? I mean, I'm starting to just get a little experience with non-trivial data with ThinkUp, and it's hard and it's slow. It's incredible what they're doing here. We have to kind of, I want to just acknowledge that. I mean, what's going on is really kind of amazing, and this at the speed that it is.
You know what saddens me is, I'm watching the chat room as we're during Mac Break Weeklies. I'm talking about the fact that this is a bad trend towards a closed ecosystem, and they're going, "Oh, you sound like such an old man." You say there's a great comic, XKCD comic, and I'll see if I can find it, in which the open source hacker guy is saying, "Well, I'm fighting to keep this stuff open for you." And but I like it closed. I like it. It's good. And then of course it closes in on the normal guy, and the hacker said, "I told you, we're fighting for you, baby. You got to understand. It feels good now, but it's not going to feel good in the long run."
So what are we going to do about it? Damn it!
Well, I'm doing everything I can on this network to raise people's awareness.
You are.
Unfortunately, the people who watch this are probably already aware.
Yeah, we all have the same hymnal.
Yeah, we're preaching the choir.
Preaching the choir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we need Save the Link and Save Cookies T-shirts. No,
Well-
but Jeff, you really are doing them a lot. I mean, you're really getting out there. And did you say you filed with the Supreme Court in Canada?
They came to me on this case, and because I write about the link economy and the value of the link, and these lawyers recognized, they were smart enough to realize that what could happen here is the degradation of the value of the link. And so I gave them a bunch of my stuff, and I filed this little affidavit, and I amended what they wrote for me. They interviewed me, then wrote it, and they used words like "verily," and so
oye, oye.
I love it. And so I added something in there about how doing this to the link would put a chill on free speech, and they said, "Oh, no, sorry, that would be very cheeky to say to the Supreme Court of Canada." I said, "I'm American, of course I'm cheeky." Cheeky.
We're out of East. This is the XKCD cartoon, 2003. Did you get my essay? Yeah, it was good, but it was a doc. You really should use a more open. Oh, give it a rest already. Maybe we just want to live our lives and use software that works, not get wrapped up in your stupid nerd turf wars. I just want people to care about infrastructures we're building. And no, you just want to feel smugly superior. You have no sense of perspective and are probably autistic. Flash forward 7 years later, 2010. Oh my God, we handed control of our social world to Facebook and they're doing evil stuff. Do you see this? It's the world's tiniest open source violin. It says it all right there.
Love XKCD.
I do too.
The smallest open source violin. I love that.
That's it. The world's smallest open source violin. I love that comic. Actually, I got an email the other day from somebody who said, "You guys talk too much about open," so I sent him a link to that comic. Said, "It's important. It's important. Even XKCD says so." So we're going to come back. We've got lots more. This is our holiday special. This Week in Google, some of the best moments from 2010 with Gina and Jeff and the gang, and we're glad you're here and hope you're enjoying your holiday season. We decided to take this week off so we could spend time with family and friends for the holidays, but we'll be back next week with more This Week in Google. We do the show live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. That's 4 p.m. Eastern on live.twit.tv, and we do invite you to join us live. We watch the chat room and often have feedback from the chat room, so you can chat along with us as we're doing the show. And also, there's stuff before, during, and after that gets edited out. And it's a lot of fun, too. I think watching it live is always best if you can. Live.twit.tv. And who knows, maybe I'll get another Chipotle bowl before the end of the year. We're going to get back in just a second with more from TWiG. But before we do, I want to talk a little bit about anti-spam filtering. You know, if you use Gmail for your mail, you don't have to worry about spam. But there are many of us, I include myself, who run our own servers. I run leoville.com. Some companies don't want Gmail to have access to their email for security reasons. Maybe they can't for legal reasons, HIPAA and so forth. For those people who run their own servers, finding spam is a big deal, and that's where MailRoute is such a blessing. I've been using it since 2004. A very low 1 in 250,000 false positive rate. I find it even lower than that. In fact, I've never had a problem with false positives. MailRoute just gets the spam and leaves the rest, and it does it transparently, easily. If you can change an MX record, you can use MailRoute. Find out more at mailroute.info. Very affordable, a great deal. My friend Tom Johnson does this, and I love giving him a plug because he's been doing such a great job fighting spam for me since 2004. Mailroute.info. Use that URL. You get 10% off the life of your account. Now, back to This Week in Google. Jeff, Gina, and me. And what are we going to talk about on this episode? Oh, yeah. That desktop app for Google Voice. Well, I'll let Gina explain. If you don't have a Google Voice account, go and get one because it's open to the world now. Everybody can have one.
Well, in the U.S., yeah.
I'm sorry. Did I say the world? The U.S.
I got in big trouble for that, so.
You're right.
Just watching out for you.
You're right, because, a third of our audience is outside the U.S., so a third of you cannot get this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what the best.
Bonjour. Guten Tag.
Yeah. You should do this show in German because we have a huge German audience. A lot of Scandinavians, a lot of Brits, Canadians, Australians. It's the nature of the internet broadcasting is not national, and that throws everybody, including all of our advertisers, for a loop, and us, right? Because we'll say, go out and get Google Voice, and they can't. Stop telling me about it.
I didn't realize what a big fat American I was until I started writing online.
Exactly. It's really good for us to remind us we are not the only ones.
We are not the only ones.
Well, if you live in the U.S., do get Google Voice because it's really a great. And in fact, it's like I said at the beginning of the show, this is the reason you use an Android phone. It becomes your voicemail on your Android phone. It's so much better. I know people love the Apple visual voicemail. I like the. I really prefer it because I can get texts, I get the emails, I can listen. I mean, it's just better all around. Anyway, so what is this this petition to do something different on Google Voice?
Well, to make a desktop app, because it's become religion in Google, accordingly to the founders, that they will only do browser apps. And now you have people saying, no, it's not good enough. The browser's not ready. We want a Google Voice desktop app.
Well, the problem comes from the fact that they acquired Gizmo and promptly killed the Gizmo app.
Right.
And that was a great app. It was a SIP phone that you could use. There are other apps out there, but I thought Gizmo was the best of them all. So they already have the app. It's almost like you just release it.
Yeah. It's really interesting. It's really a very kind of hard stand, that their platform is the browser and they want to stick to it. But, Google has some desktop apps, Picasa, right? I mean, there are some installable Google
That's a
desktop.
good point. Google Earth.
Google Earth, Google Desktop, Picasa. What are some others?
Don't kill Google Earth. I'd be furious.
Yeah. I mean, there are some apps that just, work better on the desktop.
But what happens if you go to a Chromium world and the Chrome browser as operating system?
Right.
Are they going to have apps that won't work then?
Oh.
So they're for once they're thinking ahead in that way. But I think what's really cool here is the opportunity for Google to be the anti-Apple. No one would ever think of telling Steve what to do. Ever.
Right.
But thousands are ganging up to think, well, Google might listen to us.
I think they should.
Google should listen.
Yeah, I think they should. If there's a demand for it, why not?
Yeah.
I feel like Google's had been really good about having this about showing that they listen and having this sort of continual conversation with users.
Right.
Unlike the sort of letter from Steve Jobs on high, it seems like Google's been doing especially a good job in the past couple of years of blogging and responding and changing things when they didn't work. When the background images rolled out, they pulled them back immediately. I mean,
Although you can do it now.
Like, you can still do it, but you opt in, right? So
it looks so much like Bing, but I actually did it.
and so some of the images are really
they're
striking.
beautiful. I kind of like having an image on my Google. See, I've got I don't know what that's, the Casbah or something. I don't know what that is, but it looks so much like Bing.
Yeah, it does.
Unlike Bing, though, Bing, it changes every day. On this, you can't. You have to change it by hand, which I think is not good. I mean, it's pretty, and I can remove it. And then you click change background image, and then they give you some choices. But you could do it from your own photos. There's some really pretty images.
I don't see why they wouldn't just have a desktop app and a browser-based Google Voice, VoIP app. All their desktop apps have sort of web counterparts, right? So like Google Earth is Google Maps, Picasa is Picasa Web. Even Google Desktop kind of integrates web search results with your desktop search results. I don't see why they couldn't do both, especially like you said, Leo. They have the app, right? They have the Gizmo app.
Right.
It would just be a matter of rebranding it.
Have you seen this Chrome fastball game? Did we talk about this last week?
We did. It was down when we tried it.
Is it back up?
I hadn't tried it since we
couldn't try it before. This is because they build Flash now. Yes, it's up. They build Flash now into the browser. It comes with Chrome now. So what am I supposed to do? What's going on? What help? What am I supposed to do? Is it just doing it? Am I supposed to click on anything? Oh, I see. Choose the fastest mode of transportation between point A and point B. A straight line? I don't know. Huh? Bicycle. Biking, 5 minutes. Get there faster. Car. Okay, 4 minutes. Yes, that's it. Chrome fast. Okay. It's kind of a stupid game.
Yeah.
Okay, what's happening? I don't know what the hell's happening. Tweet the fastest ball you can think of. A cheetah ball. Cheetah ball. Okay, that's the fast ball. Now, what is this tweeting? It's not a ball I recognize. Fast ball.
Something obscene there.
Fastball. Okay, there, I'm tweeting it. That speed depends on you, my friend. We'll give you an average speed this time. That's an average ball penalty of 5 tweets. I don't even know what's going on. Go. Oh, jeez. Have you played this yet?
I haven't, but now I'm scared.
It's what? Okay. Translate text. Translate that. That looks like it's in, I'm going to say Hungarian. Hungarian. Translate it into English. Translate. No, close, but try again with fewer options.
If you get everything right, you get a job at Google.
It's Finnish. It's Finnish. That's it. I think the ball was lost in translation. Oh, jeez. Icelandic. It's close. I know. It's making me crazy. It says a ball in motion will stay in motion. Do you think it's different every time? Or?
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. It's very postmodern, Jeff. Choose an artist. Selected artist. Bridge. What? Help the ball by spelling bridge out of band names. Beatles. You guys aren't helping me at all. Rihanna.
Other services.
Artist. Iggy Pop. Artist.
Abba.
Daba? No, but
Abba.
D. It has to begin with a D.
Oh, D. I thought it was Brianna. Oh, sorry.
No. D. Danger Mouse.
Doors. Danger Mouse.
Danger Mouse. Okay, Doors. That was better. Okay, G.
Gorillas.
Gorillas. With a Z. Oh, did I spell it wrong? Oh, 2 L's.
Yeah, 2 L's and a Z.
Okay, and finally, an artist that begins with an E.
Elton John.
Enya.
This is very revealing.
It is. It's way too revealing. I hope they don't collate this information. So my time is 2. Wait a minute. There's more. Search for 3 things that have decreasing search results. Jeff Jarvis. Okay. Leo Laporte. Yes, so far so good. Okay, who's less than us? Jeff. Dan.
Jason Calacanis.
Jason, there you go. There you go. I like your thinking. And we win. There's 3 minutes and 25 seconds of your life you'll never get back.
As they used to say on David Letterman, network time wasters.
My final time, hey, I was pretty good. I ranked 11,853 out of 39,449 players. So then they give you the record time on the Tour to Twitter is 5 seconds. MapLap 6 seconds. But see, I think next time I'll do better.
Next time you'll be way faster because you've got it down now.
I didn't even know what the rules were at first. I couldn't figure out what the hell I was doing. I'm amazed I finished.
They, incorporated all these other services, like Twitter and Last.fm. These are their competitors essentially, and they're promoting them. I think that's great.
Well, what my initial concern with Twitter is I thought that I would be tweeting whatever I said.
Yeah.
It wasn't clear.
Yeah.
So it's just a phony Twitter. It was fun. I liked that. Now time. Gina Trapani for your tip of the week.
Quick tip. If you are logged into Facebook, but you don't love going to sites like Yelp or Lifehacker or different places where it says, your friend Leo has liked this.
I hate
like
that.
this here. If that kind of creeps you out a little bit, there is a Google Chrome extension. It is called Facebook Disconnect. And I think this is kind of funny. This extension was developed by an engineer at Google who works on the Chromium project, but this extension doesn't have anything to do with Google. It's not endorsed by Google.
But the button goes away, the Facebook Connect button, everything, all of that stuff goes away?
All that stuff goes away. So it doesn't say, so it blocks the flow of traffic from third-party websites to Facebook. So it's really kind of a privacy protector. So if someone has a direct link to Facebook, you will still see that. It blocks those JavaScript embeds that list your friends' faces and say they like this, or instant personalization is turned on. So once you install it, and Leo's doing it right now, if you go to sites that have that Facebook integration, you won't see it.
Well, let me try it now. I love it.
You could try
Let's
going
go to
to Yelp.
Yelp.com. I hate it when I go to Yelp and it says, hey, Leo, how you doing? Your friends. Yeah. Oh, nothing. Nothing up at the top. I love it. It's gone.
Nothing.
Yay.
Kind of nice. So it's kind of like a condom for Facebook.
And it does work on Chrome.
And it's a Chrome extension. I really didn't plan to say that, and I kind of regretting that I did.
Think of it as a latex sheath to protect you.
it gets Facebook out of all your other third-party sites that you'd like to keep your activity there private. Thank you very much.
Sure, that's what it is.
And I'm going to stop blushing now, and you can do
I'll continue it, Gina. I'll keep it going. I just saw a tweet that the person doing the Canadian suit or involved is named John Newton, and it's the P2P net. Is his case, and so he just tweeted, "Oh, we're talking about his case on there," and I look at his feed and I see this from 4 hours ago. Google Android, a little bit open source, quote, sort of like a partial circumcision. So there, Gina, that's the theme of the day.
There you go. Well, when Jeff's on the show, it always is.
It's always about penises when Jeff's on the show. All right, yeah, that's what we'll do. It's Rob Houghton did it for us, and because we were talking last week about wearing our slankets, which look like monks' robes, and walking down the streets of Austin, humming the Gregorian chant. I'll tell you what, I'll just play a little bit of it, and then I'll play the full version for you at the end of the show. How about that? It is dramatic. It is beautiful. It is very, very Googly-y. You get the idea. It's very good. It goes on for a couple minutes, and it gets very jazzy. And people have been complaining, and I don't blame them, about the silly music that I started this show with. Some silly classical thing. I had this notion that there would be the three of us, and it was kind of like we were fuguing with each other, and I should do some counterpoint, and it just was a bad idea. So we'll find a better theme, and this might be ending it.
It sounds very cloudy, though, the classical theme.
That was the idea. It was Google in the cloud. That's exactly right.
Yeah, you introduced it as like not just about Google with the cloud too, and I think it works.
The problem with theme music is unless you use real music, it all sounds like bad local news themes. And now, the Action News team. Gina Trapani with sports, Jeff Jarvis with the weather, and Kevin Purdy with the news. Doesn't it?
It's feeling very Anchorman right now.
Yeah.
I'm loving this.
Yeah. Screw you, San Diego. No, I wasn't quite like that. Anyway.
Stay classy. Leo.
Stay classy.
Stay classy.
I'm going to do my best. Well, that's it for our best of this week in Google. Hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're enjoying your holidays. I hope Jeff and Gina are enjoying their Chipotle bowls right as we speak right now, because they're getting a week off. We'll be back next week, though, with all new material for you from This Week in Google in the Cloud. I'm Leo Laporte. Have a happy holiday, and we'll see you in 2011. Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.
Oh, I have a few tweets of people telling me Chipotle barbacoa is made from beef.
It does taste, well, I can't tell the difference. It's barbecue. Yeah. It looks like pulled pork, but yeah.
I've never had that.
No, it's good.
Yeah, I usually go for the chicken. This steak's pretty good too.
Well, I didn't know. That sounded the most exotic. I wish I should have asked you for consultant.
Oh, this won't be your last burrito bowl.
Oh, no.
There'll be more opportunities, I'm sure.
It's okay. You know, we have all these like real Mexican. Oh, yeah. By the way, the selling point, it's not owned by McDonald's anymore.
Right.
There you go.
That's good. Whoa. Oh, dear. Oh, my goodness. There's Chipotle everywhere.
That's why I love TWiG.
It's the lunch edition. All right.
CBS, this ain't.
No. It's getting less so all the time. And people say, oh, we don't want you to move to that new building because you'll get all professional. I say, no.
Oh, it's true.
Fear not. Although, there's a rumor which we will talk about. But first, let me begin the program. And then we should save all this good stuff for the show. You know, actually, that is quite good. There's something about it.
Yeah.
They probably put something in it.
I think it's beef.
Where's the beef?
It's a crack burrito.
Yeah, no, I can see how you get addicted to that. That's quite good.
Yeah.